But we can talk about anything while we're on. Okay. Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to the Really Charlie podcast. This segment is called the Beauty Salon, where my guests will basically talk to each other as if they were at a beauty salon. Any subject matter that they want, they just talk, chit chat, keep conversation with each other during the podcast, and just go back and forth and talk about whatever. So right now we have Lisa Lemieux. Hope I pronounced that right. Better. All right. So she's a great, strong advocate for the city, for the county, really. The state, really. For the state, she's a strong advocate, champion for the underdog. But she's definitely doing great work in this area. And I'm glad and fortunate that I got introduced to her years ago, and I'm going to keep her like a first round draft pick. Hi, Lisa. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been a beautiful week, beautiful weather. Started my day rowing on one of the Azorean whaleboats the club I belong to. So any day that starts on the water for me is a good day.
Oh yes, I love the water. I can't get enough of it. Even if I'm just looking at it. Hey, Kristen. How you doing?
Hi, I'm well.
Oh
How are you,
no.
cousin?
All right. I got some background, some feedback in the background. You might have to put headphones on. Do you have any or earbuds?
Can I put in my earbuds?
Yeah.
Sure. I know I'm on the road today, so here I.
Yeah. Always
Okay,
trying.
hold 1 second. Let's see. Hold on.
It's your office on wheels, right?
Cousin, if you only knew, Office on Wheels, we have gotten so much done today. I've been on the road. This is my third interview of today, plus working. So hustling.
Good. Got- Gotta make gotta make some family money, right? You guys are doing great. Keep up the good work. All right.
Is that better?
Yeah. Yeah. Much better. Um. So
Yeah.
this is
Okay. Much
this
better.
is
Okay.
my guest, Kristen Speller, aka my family. She's doing great things. Um. Owner of two companies, right? Double Down
Yes.
Cosmetics. Then you have a 501c, right? Somewhere, right? Well, let's do this. Let's make
Yep.
it
From here
easier.
to there, LA. Yep.
Why don't you give us a
Yeah.
little bio, Kristen? Give us a little
And
bio.
music.
All right.
Okay, well, sure. Well, I'm Kristen Speller. I'm the co founder, co creator with my lovely husband who's been on Charlie's podcast and who's coming back to Charlie's podcast very soon to health, life, and transformational coach Marvin, aka Coach M100.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we own the organic and clean cosmetic brand Double Down Cosmetics. We entered into the retail space, into Walmart about 4.5 months ago. We are the first Cape Verdean clean beauty brand on Walmart.com. We have expanded to other retailers such as Hella Black. We're also in stores in Las Vegas and Henderson, Nevada at Herbally Grounded. Um, we also run our nonprofit, which is my husband's baby. We serve the unhoused and domestic violence community of Los Angeles. And we also are musicians and producers at Speller Productions, and we're just very grateful to be able to serve our Black community with conscious and organic products that are not only plant-based but they are non-GMO as well.
Awesome. And that's why I like you. That's why I like you. Always involved. And
Always.
Lisa, can you give us a little bio about yourself and what you're involved in? which might take about 30 minutes by the time you're done, right?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I'm a mom and a grandma, and I live in New Bedford, Massachusetts, which I didn't always do. I was born and raised in Texas, which for folks who don't know is a right to work state. So I did not grow up knowing much about unions or hearing about unions. And when I moved to Massachusetts, I very quickly learned about unions, and it changed my life. And it changed my career, and I worked at AT&T in Fairhaven, Massachusetts, where we had some really good jobs that we lost. But we had the union there, and we had leadership in our union that believed in education, and so they sent me to school, and I spent 3 years in Cornell, in Ithaca, and did summer studies for labor, and then got my degree in labor law or in labor history at UMass Boston. So
Awesome.
I've been doing work in the labor movement ever since. I'm proud of the work that I do. I'm an organizer with 1199 SEIU, where I represent personal care attendants and nursing home workers and hospital workers across Massachusetts, which has been quite the work during the pandemic. And I'm also the president of the Greater Southeastern Massachusetts Labor Council, which gives me the ability to work with all different unions in southeastern Massachusetts. But as you said, this is not just about New Bedford. This is about workers that are unionized and non-unionized. And when we lift one worker up, we lift all of ourselves. We're so proud of what we're doing in Massachusetts. But as you said, I wear many hats. I'm also a state committee person for the Democratic State Party. We're getting ready to have caucuses to elect delegates to the convention in September. So we're gearing for that here in New Bedford, Fairhaven, and Dartmouth.
Awesome. Awesome. So let me see. Looks like Dana's trying to get on right now. So let's check it out.
She made it.
I did
Hey,
it. I did it.
now it's CV time, right?
Listen, they asked me passwords and stuff. I was like, what is Charlie trying to get some money? What is going on?
That's it, man. I gotta with you three. I can add to my bank account pretty good, man. I gotta hack your computers now. All those numbers, everything. It's crazy. Should have seen me when I first tried it. I was like, oh my god, what I get myself into? But
Can imagine.
yeah. So this is Dana.
Hello?
Dana. How you doing? Why don't
I'm
you give
good.
a lot of people know you. You're quite familiar around the area, and but I want you to give a bio about yourself and what you're involved in. I know you're doing something new right now, and I'm happy that you're doing that. So,
Okay, so I am from New Bedford, uh, third generation Cape Verdean American. I went uh, to school at Howard University in DC, so I'm a mighty bison. Right now, I'm at
mhm.
Tufts University, getting a master's in urban planning, and I
Wow,
work with Vineyard Wind. I'm the Massachusetts liaison, and we are building the first and largest wind farm in the United States, about
Wow.
30
awesome,
miles off of the Cape. Yeah,
I
it's
love
exciting
it.
awesome.
Awesome.
The
and happy to be here.
a couple of my friends got engaged at the lighthouse on at Butler's Flat, so I think a couple of people can get engaged in one of those wind farm turbine things,
Oh,
where
they're
you
like 30 miles out in the ocean, so, but I
hey,
mean, where there's a will,
that's the test. That's just the test. The marriage, to get out there 30 miles, see if they can do it through and through all kinds
right?
of weather,
All right.
But anyways, so now we got a little introduction of everyone. We all got everything in a little nutshell about each and every one of you, and I just want you to talk, whatever you want to talk about, no matter what it is. It could be your day, it could be the year that you're having, whatever it may be. Just talk like you were in a beauty salon. You three are just hanging out, talking to your magician or the person doing your hair, you know.
Right.
So, let's see. Well, it's been a good day, good weather around here, so I'm enjoying it. And anytime I'm around my buddy that I bring to school every day, I'm happy. He's definitely my buddy Joe and my good friend Brittany. They make my day. Every day. It's nice. So how was your day, Kristen?
Oh, my day is going well. This is my third interview today. We're here in
Oh,
Los Angeles, by the way. Um,
nice.
yeah, I've been here, Dana, for quite some time. I drove from Taunton, Massachusetts to Los Angeles, 3,000 miles. So I've been here for 17 years, but today, this is my third interview. We've been getting ready for the release of our Cape Verdean Ancestral Collection. Last year, we released it on our Independence Day on July 5th. So we did 3 eyeshadows and 1 highlighter. The Fierce, the Force, the Find, and the Fortune, dedicated to our reconstruction of our country and everything that our ancestors.
Oh, she got cut off. You can never count on California with the power grid. Just,
Driving in the car.
I know. God only knows where you are. I mean, you're in the Cape and things go in and out. So
yeah, yeah. So, how was your day, Dana?
it was not nearly as exciting as a makeup release. I was just in meetings all day. I mean, I started off with a little run, and I've been into. I don't know if anyone's following this trend, but I have been drinking chlorophyll water. So I put lemon and cucumbers in water and add drops of chlorophyll. And what it is supposed to do is, and I'll let you guys know because I've only in the second week of it. I'm always into putting different things myself
Mm,
through different things, but it's supposed to like detoxify you. It's supposed to be good for your organs. It's supposed to give your skin a great glow and give you a lot of energy so that I can pull myself off of coffee. So I will
okay.
let you know. And this is mint flavored. So it's not, it's that and celery juice every day, trying to get rid of the effects of COVID. I didn't
Mm,
have COVID, just the insane amount of junk food and food that I ate while in the house during COVID. I became very creative with junk food.
well,
Anyone ever make nachos with like, but instead of using nachos, you use cheese puffs?
yeah,
No.
no.
Oh my goodness, you all have not lived. Yeah, I have these, and I'm plant based. I had these plant based cheese puffs, and I made it even better by melting plant based cheese on it, onions, for the health part, and some plant-based chili, and then you put it in the oven and you melt everything, and then you throw some sour cream on it and guacamole, and you just eat the entire pan.
Wow. I
It's
like
amazing.
I
You
like
can make
every.
it with jackfruit too, for it to be soy free.
Mm,
Listen, just I like to keep it original. That's why I have this great figure. I keep everything original.
I
You know,
love it.
you're not supposed to take anything out of nachos, but Dana, I might try that. You make
I'll
it,
make
I'll
them for
try it.
you.
Yeah, all right.
They are so good. And
My
put lots
healthy
of hot
version
sauce
was
on it.
my healthy version of nachos was eliminating the tortilla chips and replacing them with peppers. So veggie
Oh,
nachos.
Oh, that's good.
oh,
No,
okay.
my version isn't healthy. My version is horrible. But it was COVID, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do this for this week. And then
Mm-hmm.
a month later, I was like, okay, after this month. And after 2 months, I was like, no, really, next month. And now, I have 2 shots, and I'm like, what do you
Like,
mean I can't fit in these pants?
you should have created your own YouTube channel. The DIY. You can how to make nachos or anything in your house. Cheese puffs, whatever it may be. So
Mm, Yep.
But Lisa, I like the peppers idea. I like that because I can eat peppers. You know, I like that idea.
They're
Um,
good, but I was surprised at how many carbs are actually in bell peppers.
I
Keep track
don't
of
know.
it. It's a little
Yeah,
crazy.
it's a lot.
Christians and Marvin are pretty. They got a lot of different recipes that they deal with, and you know, what do you do with nachos, Christian? What would you do at your house?
So if we did nachos, we would do if we were eating meat, obviously grass-fed beef. We would do onions. We would do. My husband likes some tomato. He doesn't really like tomatoes, but he'll do a little salsa. But we'll do like jicama, or we'll do paleo chips. We don't really. We've gotten away from tortilla chips. We don't eat soy, so it would be maybe some kind of a sauce that my husband did. He doesn't like avocado. I do. We would probably just hook it up with veggies and things like that. So that's pretty much what we do.
Yum.
But it's always grass fed. But if we have, see, here in LA, we have access to everything. So we have almond wraps. We have things that don't have wheat. So we have a lot more access, I think, to more of a paleo wheat-free lifestyle. That's what my sister says because she still lives in Milton. But she's
Uh
like, you guys have everything in LA. So we just, we have access to probably a little bit more. But we always keep some kind of almond wraps in the fridge because they're not wheat. And they're made, from a paleo perspective.
Good, good. That's one thing about the West Coast. You can grow all times of the year,
Yeah.
and you know,
Yeah.
uh, tell you a little story. Um, my some relatives of mine, they end up leaving this because they came from Cape Verde, come over to Cape Cod, and they end up, you know, being in New England for about 2 years. And one of the cousins just couldn't deal with it, so he moves to the West Coast. So way back when, he has down near the San Diego coast, he's down that way, and he's got, farm animals, got cattle. Well, being a minority, he's got a nice little set of nice property, good farm. And so what they did is a bunch of cattle wrestlers came over and they posed as the IRS and they took all the animals. They took
Oh
everything.
my God.
No.
Yeah, took everything. Just stole it, right from them. Could barely speak English, so that was
Mm.
something they just had to deal with, and they had to start all over. So, but so that's so when I think of California, that's one of the quick stories that I think about. And obviously, I lived there for 3 years, and I loved it a little bit. I loved it, but I had to come back home. I was homesick.
Where were you in California, Charlie?
Los Angeles.
Mhm.
I
So
lived
I
in
was there.
Venice Beach for years. I
Oh,
love
Yep.
you
Venice
did?
Beach. Yeah, my
Yeah.
sister's still in El Segundo. I
Oh,
need to go visit
wow.
her.
Really? Oh my
Hmm.
gosh. We live in Woodland Hills, but we're always down in Venice, Santa Monica, Brentwood area.
It's so gentrified now. Whenever I go there, I'm like, oh,
Oh,
I could never live here.
you should
Yeah.
see just from a year ago.
Oh, it's
Uh,
the last time I went back was crazy. All the high rises, and it was
Oh,
when I lived there. It was so much simpler. I mean, it was
yeah.
still. It was. I find with California, you get a lot of people that move there,
Mm-hmm.
and especially a lot of people from the Midwest. So you deal. I mean, it was very racist, quite frankly. Just put it out
Yes.
there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Um, but
Don't even.
and, and just people just feel comfortable saying and asking the most crazy
Yeah,
things to you.
girl.
Um,
and
but
I see that's one thing about California. I don't understand why people are like that because people come from all over the world to California. You can't just because someone's you know a certain complexion or whatever. Just don't assume that that's who they are. California is like a melting pot. People come from all over the world there, and to get
Yeah.
get some of that get some of that foolishness drives me crazy because you don't know who you're talking to, you know. And but speaking of L.A. and California, we got my boy Mikey Montero tuning in, listening to you guys. He's doing great things.
Yeah, the last time I was there, I think he and I had a drink with my sister on La Brea at this place called the Chalet.
Yeah.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, the chalet. Hi, Mikey.
That's it.
I'm gonna see you soon, brother.
Hey, Mikey, you better get a Subaru next time you want to go cross country, brother. He had a couple of mishaps on the way there, you know, but he did it.
Safe travels. You did it.
Yeah, driving cross country. I did it 3 times, and it's something different. You should do it. You know, get to see different parts of this country that we don't see. So, Lisa, I didn't ask you how your day was, and I'm a bad host. I'm so sorry. You know, I
My
just
day was
like.
good. We actually talked about this pre-show, but I started my day on the water rowing on one of the Azorean well boats from the Azorean Maritime Heritage Society. So that's like a good day for me when it gets to start on the water. And it was a beautiful day in Clark's Cove this morning. So I
Awesome.
was actually steering, so I didn't do much rowing, but it was a great view. And to have 7 girls in one boat, you know, all of who are champions in their lives, you know, is inspiring.
Is that is the community boating still down near the fort? You know, they still doing that? You know, I know
Yes,
they used to.
we actually row right off their dock. We keep our boat stock there at Community Boating Center. They're a great partner. They have an expanded program that, you know, kind of spilled over from the pandemic. And they do a great job. We're super proud of Community Boating Center and the work that they do.
Awesome. And so, Dana, what's the story about the wind farms? What's going on? What's the updates?
I mean, we are in the process of building, and it's very, very exciting. Just trying to, make sure that for the company, diversity, equity, inclusion is the utmost. This is a new industry, and we all know that in the past, people of color constantly get cut out of industry.
Yep.
So for us, we are the first company, so we want to make that's actually building. So we want to make sure that the supply force is diverse, that there's lots of workforce development, that there's lots of training, and that the people working reflect the community that they're in.
Yes.
So it's pretty exciting, and
I'm
it's
gonna
weird
ask.
because I'm not a sciencey person.
Awesome.
So don't ask me how the turns into you can turn the light on. But
Well, I'm gonna ask this question since Lisa's on board. Is it pro union?
oh yes, we are absolutely working with the unions, with Mr. Pimentel, making sure we're going into the community and getting as many people in their apprenticeships as we can. And not about Lisa, I'm a union person too.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep. Good.
Hopefully the
Awesome.
ILA will be expanding. I mean, they're going to need to meet the demand.
Mm-hmm.
So exciting times.
The nice
Awesome.
thing about the wind industry is that because it is new and it is different jobs, right? It gives people in our community whose jobs are maybe going away an opportunity to go into a new field. And you know, change doesn't come easy for people. So we're spending a lot of time educating folks about the need to retrain, right? To learn new skills, and it's
Right.
okay. And some of our old jobs that people did successfully for many years, we learned after a while weren't the best jobs, right? They weren't the best for our community. They weren't best for the health of the people who were doing the jobs. And so, you know, it takes a lot of it's you know, like the pandemic, right? It takes a lot of education to get people to understand the need for the vaccines and the impact of the vaccines, and you know, and how things change. And sometimes that change is good. And so I'm excited about the opportunities, but I know that it's going to take some work to get people to understand, you know, what these new jobs
True.
are, what they need for our community and for our country, and hopefully encourage people to get interested in it and, you know, try to learn a new skill.
Good. Yeah, my uncle was telling me about, getting on the tugboats and perhaps getting trained so I can kind of do, be part of the construction of the wind farms and kind of going back and forth from sea to shore. And there's good money in it. But the problem is with me is, is being on that water for a while. It's not good for me. It doesn't. So I can't get used to it. I tried it. I lived in the West Coast. I tried. Lived in Florida. I tried out there, and even out here in New Bedford, I just can't get used to the sea. I'm probably just as good as 1, 2 trips, from here to the islands and back, and I'm okay, But anything after that, I'm usually a mess. So
It's not for me. I don't plan on being out there. That's for sure. Like,
see,
I can't have my hair all bushy.
yeah, got, got have Dana in a helicopter, in a
Don't be
private.
driving it like I can't see.
So, but Christian, can you talk about your upcoming event in the fall?
Yeah, we haven't even really made an announcement, but I had to log back in. I just want to say one thing. Our new ancestral collection, our Cape Verdean ancestral collection, we did 3 new eyeshadows for our Independence Day. To me, I might be biased, but I think this is our best collection yet.
Okay.
So we are very excited. We did 3 gorgeous eyeshadows to represent our current flag of Cape Verde. We also did last year an ode to the old flag, the red, the reconstruction. This year it's all about rising again. It's about who we are as people. So the 3 new eyeshadows are called the Grit, the Grace, and the Gleam, for many different reasons.
Mm.
So we are very excited about that, and we're just excited overall, because to be the first, Cape Verdean Black Clean Beauty brand in Walmart has been extraordinary. The team has been fantastic to work with, and we're expanding into other retailers. We just got into hellablack.com, and we have some more things coming up. So we're excited about that. The event in the fall, we're going to make an announcement soon, but we can talk about it here. So I am very, first of all, to be performing on my 47th birthday is just remarkable. I'm so thankful
Yes.
to our Indie Grammy family, the Indie Collaborative, that is, hosting the event. And my husband and I, it's the first song we ever wrote. I'm proud to say that my cousin Charlie Perry will be on stage with me. And we have an incredible lineup of musicians from the Recording Academy and local musicians. Really, I've always wanted to play with my family and friends. And this is such a very grand and very rich opportunity for my husband and I to be able to produce this song, for me to be able to play it and sing it, and dedicate it to my little sister, who I loved so much, and in honor of my mother. All I can say is we're about to put on a show, Cape Verdean style.
I can't wait. Can't wait.
I can't wait.
What city again?
I'm sorry?
Can you announce the city?
I can say, yeah. So it's going to be in Newport, Rhode Island on September 19th.
Oh, cool.
And I'll make the announcement on my page probably maybe in a couple weeks or so.
Okay.
But
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Tickets are selling fast. That I know, because they've been updating us.
Good. Can't wait. Can't wait.
We can't wait to fly home, and it's my birthday. I've never performed on my birthday. It's just wild that it falls on my 47th birthday. So a lot to be grateful for, a lot to be thankful for.
That's right. We're gonna give you a cake and then the microphone.
I think I know that my sister wants to take my husband and I to a lot of new cafes and stuff, and she found a really good
Nice.
gluten-free shop. So, I'm ready.
Good.
That's why I was doing Pilates last night.
Got to get ready.
Got to get ready. Got to get these pipes going.
That's right.
And my hands. Got to play the dulcimer. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
So, I haven't seen you walking around, Dana, with the dog or anything. What's going on?
Well, my
Working?
dog passed away right before Christmas. Yeah, Liberace is gone.
Oh no, I'm so
I know.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
In puppy heaven.
He is.
Bad host. I'm sorry.
But I've been running around the park, but I go like really early, like usually like 5:15. I'm out there.
Good for
There
you.
aren't many people out there. I see my cousin every once in a while, but I'm out there like really early. But I do want to like put the car away and start walking around more. Like it's been also with the pandemic, I've been in my house. But now that things are open again and I have both my shots, I actually want to walk around. I love walking. I just love it. You have to plan differently because something that's a 10-minute drive is like, though I walk very quickly, people always say like, we see you and you're like, shoom, shoom. But yeah, I definitely want to get out there walking around. It's good to see people and it's just it's just a mind relaxer to just walk to things.
Exactly.
So you will see me. And in a little while, I'll adopt another dog, and you'll see me with my dog.
Yay.
But I still need to get over Liberace because I had him for a long time, and he was just a love bug.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. We lost ours last year, so we're still.
I'm sorry. It's the
Still
worst.
in the. Yeah. So we're almost there, but we're gonna wait.
And then
maybe.
a few months after that, my cat died. It was horrible. And I know.
Dana.
It was crazy. And there are these two little boys that I do outings with, and I had to sit them down and explain to them that Liberace died. And then when I told them the cat died, they were like, "What?" And one of them, he was so funny. He was at my house, and he was like, "Can I call my uncle?" And I'm like, "Okay." And he goes in the kitchen. He's like, "The cat died too." He was like, "So don't mention it."
Oh my god. Kids. Oh gosh.
Well, the cat must have died of old age, though, right? Because you had that cat for a long time.
I had him for a while, but it turns out he had heart disease and kidney disease. And the treatment for both of them would contradict the other. So I had to put him down, Tabor. I found him at Fort Tabor. Yeah. So now I've become the crazy woman in the neighborhood that feeds strays. And so now I buy them toys and like I leave my kitchen door open in the day when I'm working. They come and they play.
I love it.
Oh God, my family thinks I'm insane. They're just like, this woman, we're gonna come in here someday. There's gonna be 17 freaking cats and no furniture.
Love it. Yes.
So, but this is great to have you ladies on here. I really enjoy the beauty salon and barbershop segment that I added to the podcast, and it just lets people just be who they are. The best thing about it is, I enjoy myself when we're live, but the next day I'm actually, looking for the podcast on Spotify, and I'm just listening to it while I'm driving to Rhode Island, and I'm enjoying it. I enjoy a lot of the conversations. And I said, hey, someone might bring up something. I say, that's a good idea. That might be my next podcast. So, it just keeps each podcast I'm living and learning, and it's also producing future podcasts. I got a hold of Kristen and Marvin, ever since, and I think we got 6 podcasts under our belt just because of them two.
Wow, that's remarkable. I know my mom loves being on your podcast, and he's a remarkable coach, and he's transforming our Cape Verdean community with so many people. He has been a rock, especially this past month, with helping so many people with mental health. And I'm so in awe of him. I'm so thankful. That's my ride or die. That's my partner. And he's just doing really remarkable work for our community. And it says so much since he's not even Cape Verdean. Um, and I have a lot to say about a lot of things that we're not talking about. We don't talk about mental health in our community. We don't talk about human trafficking. We don't talk about domestic violence. And we're losing too many people because we don't talk. And so Marvin and I are opening up our Double Down Cosmetics platform on Instagram, and we're going to be doing lives on makeup and mental health because it's much needed, given what we just went through, and we need to talk.
Good. Yeah.
Oh, there's a little known organization. Well, actually, it's kind of getting well known. My sisters have an organization called Never Be Solo,
Oh my
which,
God, Nakia, we're
yep,
going live together, girl. That's my girl.
yeah.
I sang at Kunina's event for solo.
Okay, yeah. So Never Be Solo
Yes,
is
girl.
named
Oh,
after our brother who ended his life, and
yes.
they've had this organization for several years. They've done events
Phenomenal.
in Texas. They've done events in California. They actually have done
Yes.
a few events in New Bedford. And my sister is actually coming this
Yes.
summer, so we can do another event. And what they talk about is that suicide is preventable, and that people just need to
Yes.
talk and to never feel like
Yes.
you're alone. And they've been doing it, uh, God, for
Yes.
years and years and years. So there is a voice out there. Look up Never Be Solo. My sister speaks at different events, and they
Yes.
really put their heart and soul, both of my sisters, into Never Be Solo. And Solo was actually like my brother was a
Phenomenal.
artist and a cartoonist, and he had this superhero that he developed that he called
Yes.
Solo, and it was someone that kind of like a Batman character that like went into their own world and became this other character to like solve crime and make the world fight evil doing and make the world a better place. But ultimately you can have all the talent in the world, but if you
Mm-hmm.
feel alone and you feel unloved and you just feel that way and you never allow yourself to say it,
Mm-hmm.
it's one of the hardest things to do is to say that you
Mm-hmm.
feel alone, you feel unloved, and
Yes.
especially for a young black man. Like,
Yes.
it's hard, especially because, I mean, let's face it, this country doesn't exactly love them or respect them or want to
Mm-hmm.
hear from them.
From them. Yep.
Um, Unless, of course, they're dribbling a ball or performing on a stage. But regular people walking around, the world is a lonely place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's especially hard because our own community tends to shun them and be afraid of them.
Oh.
Now more
Yeah.
so than ever. It's like we're believing these stories and we're putting that much more pressure on young people and somehow expecting them to miraculously turn everything around.
Yes.
So all that to say that Never Be Solo is an advocate for all people, but especially our young black men that need to be told that they're valued, that they're loved, and
Yes.
that they're needed.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just don't think that you know, you know, mental health doesn't discriminate. It affects everybody,
Yeah.
and I do agree that we don't talk about it enough.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, funding and healthcare to take care of our issues. It comes down to that we have to elect people who are going to prioritize funding to get people the help that they need in our communities. Because the way that our health insurance system is now, the way that we live in a world of just inequality, growing inequality, right? There's inequality in wages, in wealth, in opportunity, in power, and until we change that, right, we're not going to get a healthcare system in this country that's actually going to take care of people the way that they need to be taken care of. And mental health is a huge piece of that.
So true. So true. I well, hold on, Kristen, 1 second here. Kristen, I muted you for a second. 1 second.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that, Charlie? I can't hear.
1 second. had to unmute you. I'm sorry. I just wanted to hear everything that Lisa was saying.
Oh no, that's okay, because I'm in the car.
Yeah. So we got Annika Barboza. She'll be on the
Hey, Annika.
podcast. She'll be on the podcast soon, July 1st. I can't wait to have her on it.
Anika, my girl.
Yep. Between you and Damon Amandon, you reach out to her for me. I really appreciate that. She is a star in the making from our area, and I'm so glad to kind of highlight her and definitely all the different movies she was involved in. She's got so many activities that, other than the lights, camera, and action, she's doing something with the assisted living. So she's on the ball. I cannot wait to podcast with her and highlight her also. She says she can't wait. You're the star, Miss Barboza. You're the star. I can't wait to talk to you. I can't wait. So, but speaking of stars, Dana was on what's that road show? I thought you were gonna win that sucker.
That was like forever ago, right?
Yeah, that was nice though. I thought you were gonna win. I actually
Honestly, it was nicer watching it. To be honest, between us all behind the scenes, the producers were horrible people.
Oh yeah.
They were so rude. They made it clear that they did not like my black butt. Yeah, it's no wonder that thing is on Fox. It was not a fun experience at all.
Hey, you know what? Chalk it up. That's all.
Oh yeah, another experience.
But I want to say that you did a good job, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Nobody
and if
can.
I ever stopped a job just because I was working with people that were not exactly tolerant,
Yeah.
I probably would have quit my first job and just wrapped it up.
So you just brush it off.
Luckily, it's gotten a heck of a lot better, a hell of a lot better. But yeah, that was those people. I was like, this is like on Rhode Island television. This is not like Good Morning America.
Yeah. But
the ego.
Yeah. Well, a lot of those egos up in that little state tend to run off with the mouth, and a few of them got in trouble this year, and now they're not talking on the air at all. So, which I was saying, tiger doesn't change its stripes, and eventually you put them in front of a microphone, they're eventually going to mess up sooner or later, and then we won't. It's called karma. It's called God doesn't punish people, but karma does. So it all comes back to them. So, I see my brother Kevin's on the podcast listening to you ladies, and he's always supporting me. He's a fool sometimes, but he always supports me, and I appreciate it. Got my friend Cheryl on commenting, constant supporter of me for years to come. She's always done great things. Let's see here. I've just seen his name. I can't find him. Damon. Well, we're going to put him on the screen here. Damon the Mandan was the creator of that Really Charlie podcast graphic design in the back. So he did it. And
Nice.
I just told him what I wanted pretty much. And he came up with the idea. And you know what? You see so many other things out there, but this one I'm going to stick with until the day I die because I like it that much. And he's done great work, and he should be he likes to throw those different. I should probably be paying him. He's always throwing suggestions into my inbox. Different guests. Miss Barboza, she was one that he offered, and a few others. So he's got a lot of ideas. lot of good ideas.
He does, very creative.
Yeah. All right. So
So
I
Charlie, I
don't
got
know.
there's two events that I was hoping that I could touch on.
Of course.
So one is our striking steelworkers down in the south end of New Bedford. So it is the old, a lot of folks know it as the old Rodney Metals, but now named ATI Technologies. We have workers that have been on strike going on their 12th week. And so we would encourage folks to go down and cheer on those guys who are out there in the heat, striking 7 days a week, where they're fighting for a fair contract. They haven't had wage increases in 7 years, and we have a company that's trying to take away their health insurance, and we want to give them support. And then the other one is Sunday. We're electing delegates to the Democratic State Convention here in New Bedford. We're going to be hosting a caucus for the New Bedford Democratic City Committee. We're encouraging, any Democrats that want to get involved and maybe go to the convention in September to come attend our caucus. It's from 12 to 2 in downtown New Bedford at 560 Pleasant Street, right next door to the Baker Shop. And we're going to be electing delegates to go to the convention. So, if we want change, we got to be a part of the process. So we're encouraging folks to get involved. And, we have a Facebook page, the New Bedford Democratic City Committee, New Bedford Dems.
All right. Awesome. You guys do a great job. I remember when I went in there and I was greeted by a lot of good people. And and some people I do talk just because of that meeting and, the introduction of me and my campaign. And there's a few people that still keep in contact with myself, including Lisa. So it was plus. I tell everyone, vote. I don't care. You got to vote. It's very, very important. And
the convention
then,
is fun, the state convention. Like, it really is a good time. Everyone gets on the bus, they go together. It's usually in a huge arena. You meet people from all over the state. You get to hear some really cool people talk. Normally when it's 2 days, like we spend the night there, there are all these different parties, these groups that have parties. It's a really good time.
good. And I mean, Kristen's dealing with her governor. They got to do a recount or something. What was it? The governor.
Oh, we can't
Gavin
wait.
Newsom.
He
Oh my
needs to
God.
get out. He
What
needs
is
to
wrong
leave.
with Gavin Newsom?
He needs to, let me tell you something. He needs to leave ASAP. I cannot wait. I was one of the first people when they said he was going to recall the petition. All the teachers have been out campaigning. I can't wait. He needs to be recalled. He needs to get out. Out. That's why we call him Gruesome Newsom.
He's been there like one term, right?
Barely.
Yeah, so he inherited a huge mess. And I mean, myself, having been an elected official, I'll tell you, it's hard to turn around a mess in a short turnaround, especially when you inherit. Who was the governor before him?
Jerry Brown.
Oh.
So, and I know because I don't know if any of you know this. I think Charlie knows this. My mother was the first Black woman in the 80s to lead the Democratic National Convention. I grew up because my family, my cousin was Rose Kennedy's nurse. My uncle Manny built the pipeline at the Kennedy compound. And I used to go to high tea with Michael Dukakis and Kitty at their home in Brookline. My mother was really instrumental in helping Kitty through some tough times. So I grew up in all of this. I was in 1980s campaigning for Joe McCarthy and my goodness, and John Kerry and Senator Moakley. I mean, we're going like way back and in time, and Ted Alexo, and my mother was the campaign manager when Bobby Nunes, he was the youngest city councilman in the history of Massachusetts to get elected. My mother did all that.
Wow.
So I grew up in all of this, and she always used to tell me, Punk, that's my nickname, it's going to take a long time to affect change, but Governor Newsom has had some opportunities that he has missed. And we work in the domestic violence community here. We work with legislation. We work with our senators, and everybody wants him out. Everybody, both sides, up and down, all the way around. Everybody. So here we are.
Get him on.
So
Get them on the
so
boat.
what's the option? Because it's one thing to get
The
to say
option
someone.
is that, yeah, I know. The option is that, I mean, Caitlyn Jenner is on the other side, which is not going to
She's a
work
huge
either.
Trump supporter. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't care.
because
I don't care about
my
that.
understanding was that it
Yeah,
was really the restaurant people that were upset because the restaurants had to be closed that was the real fire behind this, and that they were more concerned about making money than they were about the lives of the people that would not only be risk eating at the restaurants, but more importantly, the workers who are frontline
absolutely.
workers who would be there
Yes.
serving people a very unsafe
Yes.
atmosphere. So
Very.
the whole foundation was built by a group of people that are in a business that is a risky business that did not
Hmm.
plan for this. Nobody did, but that's the type
Right.
of business you, you got to take that L sometimes. When there's a pandemic, you just got to take that L. And to say we're going to replace him and put someone in there who's going to open everything up and then not only put Californians at risk, but then the rest of the country. I mean, I'm sort of baffled by that, especially when there's not really a strong candidate to take the place. I mean, Caitlyn Jenner would be a complete nightmare. I mean, didn't she get away for murder when she ran somebody over, and her family was able to get her off that charge? I mean, not to say we haven't had elected officials that have been in trouble before for car incidents, but that was before she was elected, and
And
it's just the whole celebrity thing. I mean, haven't we learned our lesson about putting people that were on TV behind a desk and expecting them to know what the hell they're doing? You do need to have some understanding of of policy. You need to have some
Yeah.
background in that, and she does not.
Yeah. I mean, it's yeah.
And she's
I
racist. Let's put it that way. She's racist. She's sort of getting over on being a white trans woman. And she has a lot of sort of privilege coming from being
Yes.
a rich white man. So the fact
Yes.
that she puts herself as a face of trans but doesn't speak out when black trans women are
Yes.
being murdered every
That's
day, if that's
exactly what
any
we
example
said.
of what she's going to do when she gets behind that desk, I want my sister and my niece and my other niece to come back here because that place is going to go to hell in a handbasket. And
I'll tell
she
you,
and her daughters are
yeah.
probably going to make a
Yeah.
lot of money continuing
Yep.
to culturally appropriate
Appropriate. Yep.
while it's all on TV. And there'll be some dummies here watching it saying, I wish I could be them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, on so many levels, I agree. I will say this, and I have to really go here. There's so much. First of all, it's so laborious just being in this political climate, especially for my husband and I, who, we work for domestic violence victims. 32% of us Black women are on the streets who are victims. So I have a hard time with that. Governor Newsom hasn't done anything for our unhoused veterans. He's done nothing. Nor will Caitlyn. Um, I think there's a lot of issues. The one thing I will say is that, whether they're with Trump or not, and I will say this, working in human trafficking, we were very fortunate for President Trump, who enabled 2 human trafficking bills that helped us here in California. Anything outside of that, I don't discuss. But for me, who works in this, it was very essential, and everybody knew that. Our firefighters who are in these human trafficking cells, who we work with, were like, listen, this wouldn't have happened without him. Whatever anything else is fine, but we have issues of human trafficking here that aren't being addressed. We have our trans Black community. Marvin and I, we have our Clean Cosmetics brand. We work with our trans community. We work with trans influencers. Our Black trans youth were the first domestic violence victims we started working with in 2011. So there's so many pockets to this that never add up. We don't have anybody. That's why a lot of people, to be honest, cousin Charlie, a lot of people were like, Kristen, Marvin needs to run. And I'm like, he's not going to run. We're not even in a position for that. We're not ready for that. Although we had 29 votes, both elections, of people from Taunton who wrote my husband in on the presidential ballot. So I was like, go, Coach M. But the problems here, I don't feel obviously that they're going to be solved. And it wasn't just the restaurateurs, Dana. We had the teachers unions too that want Newsom out. We met with them. We have domestic violence shelters, CEOs that want him out. There has been no support. He's not even showing up. He's canceled all the meetings on Skid Row. He's canceled all of our shelter bill meetings. I mean, he's done nothing. He hasn't even shown up. And so here's the thing, whether you're able to fix it or not, for me right now isn't the question. The fact that you're not even showing up to meet with your constituents, with people who are seeking answers, that's the problem that I have, especially working in human trafficking and domestic violence here in Los Angeles.
So how long is the term? It's what, 4 years?
Yeah.
So he's been there since January 7th of 2019.
Yeah.
So like we're in 21, like a little over 2 years. It just seems, I don't know.
He hasn't met with the Women's Business Association. Yeah. He hasn't met with the restaurant, with the CRB, the Congressional Restaurant Business Association.
Well, now he has to raise money to fight this effort that's going on. So it just seems weird that it's been a little over 2 years and he's inherited a hot fire garbage mess. Yes. And in what, 2 years, that's 365 days a year. So we're talking about 10.
And he's contributed to the mess, especially as the mayor of San Francisco. He ran San Francisco to the ground. Our domestic violence victims suffered at the hands of him. So now he's the governor. So here we are. I mean, we're not surprised considering what transpired under, his tutelage in San Francisco.
Oh,
so here we are.
How did all those voters miss that?
They did.
How do you go from being
he made
mayor
promises
and then, but people, I mean, I don't know. Okay. That voting base is an odd one because I don't know how many people get, like, that's odd. Well, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I wish the city the best.
Thank you.
But, the state the best. I'm just concerned about, like, who lit the fire behind that, what they really want. I know that crowds can get amped up really quickly with burning torches. And California is such an important state in our country.
Yeah, we need to open up. We need to open up. We need to put people back to work, and this is what everybody's asking for. And that's just what needs to happen. We have, as of yesterday.
But is it
we have
so?
70,000 homeless people on the streets of Los Angeles. 70,000.
Yeah. When I lived in Venice, that was a problem. And they inherited that under Ronald Reagan when he sort of when he opened up the mental institutions and when the jails were open and said you can have 2 tickets, either downtown or the beach. And people went to the beach, obviously. Yeah. So we've certainly inherited that problem under Reagan and his inability to have any sort of empathy or plan for people. I mean, we saw what he did with communities affected by AIDS and HIV.
Yes, we did.
He did not care.
We did. No, he
didn't. And really, it was atrocious.
Atrocious on every level.
And his foreign policy, with what he did to Central America, which now we're seeing the effects of with people that have to escape to come here, which the last Republican put in cages. It's sort of I'm wondering when we're going to be able to sort of see the patterns, and then sort of see that there are ripple effects and there's ebb and flow, and when we're going to see that if you've got certain leadership that cause these problems, how do we sort of mop up that mess, and how do we do it collectively, but also in a way that understands that it takes time to put out a fire, it takes time to mop up a floor, and it takes time to clean up the mess that you've inherited. I mean, it's interesting, the world of politics. I'm so glad to be out of it for now.
I bet. I know.
But you're never really out of it, right?
I don't miss those.
It's like the mafia.
6:30 a.m. calls of campaigning. Trust me, we were up at 6:30 and we were out with the signs. So, I certainly don't miss the campaigning. But we have no leadership for this country anyway. So,
we do. We're the leadership. We're the leadership we're looking for.
I mean, at the time,
That's
yes,
what I say.
us, the constituents, absolutely. But I mean,
us.
The people who are making decisions, we have none.
Well, then we get rid of them and we put new people in.
We need to.
every election,
Right
you
now.
know?
We
I
need to
was
right now.
surprised by what happened in Georgia, and I just keep believing deep in my heart that people are going to get engaged and going to get involved, and people are going to see that it makes a difference. And I'm not going to give up hope, and I spend a lot of my time doing this stuff, Dana, you know that. And I'm going to keep doing it because, I said this on the strike line, right? We
Sure.
cannot sit back and watch the standards in our communities be lowered,
Mm-hmm.
and I started doing this work because of my children, because I was raising my children in New Bedford, and now I'm raising my grandchildren here. And it worries me that we don't have good schools, or that we have skilled workers that are leaving our cities and towns because they're going somewhere else to make more money. That's not okay, right? It's just not okay. People should be paid fairly. We should have education so that people can get the skills that they need, and we have to elect better people. We just, have to elect better people who are actually going to do what's in the best interest of the majority of the people in our communities, not the few.
Yes, I agree.
But that's
And have more home ownership so that the city doesn't get gentrified or continued to get gentrified. Well, okay, so that Black Lives Matter mural downtown, can we please talk about, if Black Lives Matter, why is the city getting so gentrified? Like, if we matter, don't move us out.
Yeah. And it's
Well, you have to talk to George Soros, who owns the movement. I mean, he's the one that owns this movement. So that's who people need to be reaching out to, is George Soros, most vile man, in my opinion, to ask him why, because he's behind all of this.
well, I think that individually we all got to think about home ownership. I mean,
I mean, we have a foreclosure problem in Massachusetts, which is horrific.
Horrible.
Illegal foreclosures. There's an
here.
organization called MAPLE, the Mass Alliance Against Predatory Lending. A woman named Grace Ross, who actually came to New Bedford and did foreclosure clinics to help people stay in their homes. We definitely need more of that.
Yeah.
Because the banks.
What was her name again? What was her name again?
So this is funny. Her name is Grace Ross. How funny is that, Charlie? I have a cousin named Ross Grace.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and she's an absolute genius. She actually ran for governor a while back, but
that was a great event, Dana, that you helped put together, and I hope that I really hope that there was going to be follow-up events from that, and that never happened. And I look at the amount of people who are paying more rent than I do in my mortgage here in the city of Bedford, for all different kinds of reasons. And when you look at our largest employers in southeastern Massachusetts, our healthcare systems, hospitals, right, and our municipalities, all of which are paying people not a living wage, right? Like the cost of living has gone up faster than people's paychecks. So people will never be able to pay rent and save money, to put money toward a mortgage and keep a car on the road and put food on the table. And that's the problem, right? We can talk about individual people, but the fact of the matter is that if we don't pay people enough money, right, this goes back to having an economy that does not work for the working people, right? We have to have a common sense economy so that people can make enough money to live, right? I hear every day in the news about people saying people don't want to get off unemployment, because they don't want to go back to work. No, they can't get off unemployment and go to a job that's not going to pay them enough to pay their rent, and they're going to lose daycare subsidies or heating subsidies or housing subsidies. The math just doesn't work, right? And until we realize that we have to pay people more money, we have to pay people a living wage. We're not all going to get rich. I'm certainly never going to be rich. I am rich with love in my life. I will never be rich with money, and I accept that. But people have to be able to go out, work a 40-hour work week, and make enough money to put food on the table and pay their rent and keep a car on the road. And if they can't do that, then they can't take care of themselves. Exactly. And this country's going to be far worse, 25 and 30 years from now, when you look at the people who are working and not making a living wage now, who are not going to be able to support themselves when they can't work anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna reach out to Grace Ross, because that would be a great podcast to put on it. So I'll reach out to her.
I'll connect you with her for sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
All right. I have another podcast coming on right after this, so I'm going to leave you guys with one question answer, if you can. We'll start with Lisa. Who would you like to see on the Really Charlie podcast?
Well, I mean, I love Grace Ross. I love listening to her. I think she's just a super smart lady. She's got a lot of good stuff. So I would highly encourage you to bring Ross on. We have a lot of talented people in our community. I think the folks at the Coalition for Social Justice have been doing a lot of work around housing and daycare issues. And we have to talk about it more because there are some people trying to make some serious change around these issues. And I'm not an expert in it. I can't talk about it, but I know that they can, and it's real talk. And I would encourage you to talk to the Coalition for Social Justice for sure.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that as soon as Monday morning. Okay, great. What about you, Dana? Who would you like to see on the Really Charlie podcast since someone recommended you and I got you here?
Oh, wow. Well, I'm going to echo Lisa and say Grace Ross. I think that it does have a lot to say, and I think there are probably people that are watching your podcast that are fighting to keep their homes. And
Yes.
I mean, you could really help them.
Good. I'm going to do that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Kristen, what about you?
You know, I don't know Grace Ross, but my mother's friend, she's a state representative, Carol Doherty. She's Cape Verdean in Taunton. And she's trying to help the Taunton Diversity Network. She'd be a great guest for you to have on the podcast. I mean, of course, I'd say Anika. Anika's already coming, and you had my cousin Linda Baptista Hall on, so I'm fresh out of ideas. But yeah, of course, my husband's coming back, and Carol Doherty would be a great guest for you.
Okay.
Carol Doherty is a former president of the Mass Teachers Association. She's a
I know.
Wow.
My mother got her elected to the Taunton School Committee in 1988. I campaigned ladies, when I tell you I was up at 6:30 a.m. on hot school corners in Taunton, I was up with the signs. My mother let me get no sleep on the weekends, and it wasn't just me; it was my high school friends too. We're gonna go.
Lisa, does that sound familiar? No sleep with a sign.
So
I think I've heard that before.
I've been doing this since 1979. I started campaigning when I was 5.
Wow.
Charlie, let's talk. We could bring local workers on to talk about their issues in their workplaces.
I'm gonna do that.
Good idea.
This is
and Charlie and my cousin Mikey Montero. You should have him on too.
Yeah, he was on for the barbershop segment, but I wanted to do one
with him alone, by himself.
Himself because he's bringing so many things here to New Bedford.
Have some old Creoles that tell stories about back in the day. I can sit there and listen to those stories.
Yes.
I want to hear stories about pork chop. I want to hear stories about the Verdean vets when people wore like the gloves that went up to here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear all of that. I want to hear, please, yes, old school stories.
I'll definitely do that.
Because we need them before they, we can't hear them anymore. And then you'll be able to archive them.
Exactly.
We're going to be working on a poster contest to get people to talk about labor history because we're losing it, right?
That's great.
And so we're working with Third Eye and other groups to bring into this so that, and we have a lot of union people who have a lot of talent too, but we want to open it up to the community, definitely open it up to youth so that we can get people to talk about labor history and hopefully come up with a New Bedford labor poster, which hasn't happened in a very long time.
Good.
Oh, that's awesome. Lisa, I'm going to connect with you on that. That sounds awesome.
It is a great idea. So, all right, ladies, it's my pleasure to have you here. I want to bring each and every one of you back here. So reach out to me. You have anything you want to talk about, just send me a direct message. Say, Charlie, you got any time on your podcast? And I'll make sure I put you on. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you. Nice to meet you both.
Yes, this was great. I love it. Thank you, everyone, and have a great night.
All right, have a great day.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Awesome group. All right, everyone. I'm going to be signing off. I got to start another podcast in about 5 minutes. Thank you for joining me and supporting me. We have the Cape Verdean Scholarship Committee coming on. So I'm going to sign off here, and you'll have another podcast momentarily. Take care. God bless.